Take an extra shift. He'd make it work. He always did, but that Tuesday in March the routine broke. Michael woke up at 5:47, made his coffee, opened his banking app, and saw something that didn't make sense. The account he'd been sending money to for 8 years, the account that belonged to Linda Park, was empty. Completely empty. That wasn't unusual in itself. Linda was living on that money. Of course she spent it. But what caught his eye was the transaction history. Deposits. Large deposits. From multi-IPO sources. Thousands of dollars coming in. Not just from him, but from 3 other accounts, names he didn't recognize. And the withdrawals, they weren't for groceries or rent. They were transfers. To another account. Regular. Systematic. Efficient. Michael stared at his phone screen. The coffee went cold in his hand. His brain tried to make the numbers make sense, tried to find an innocent explanation. Maybe Linda had gotten a job. Maybe she'd won something. Maybe there was family he didn't know about helping her too. But that didn't explain why the money was being moved so quickly, so methodically. Within days of arriving, it was gone again. Redirected. Hidden. Michael's hand started to shake. Not from fear. Not yet. From something else. A feeling like standing on ice and hearing it crack beneath your feet. That night, after Emma went to bed, Michael called an old friend from high school who worked in banking. Dave Chen, no relation despite the same last name, owed Michael a favor from years back. Michael explained the situation, sent screenshots of the transaction history, asked if Dave could make sense of it. Dave was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Michael, this doesn't look like an elderly woman's account. This looks like a money laundering operation, or fraud." "How well do you know this person?" Michael said. "She's my late wife's mother." Dave said, "Are you sure?" That question, "Are you sure?" It rattled around Michael's head for days. Of course he was sure. He'd met Linda. She'd stayed in his home. She'd held his daughter. She'd cried at Rebecca's funeral. But had he ever actually verified anything? Had he ever seen Linda's ID? Had he ever visited her in Seattle? Had he ever confirmed that the account actually belonged to her and not just taken her word for it because grief doesn't ask for receipts? Not. The doubt grew like a tumor, fast and consuming. Michael started digging. He searched for Linda Park in Seattle. Found dozens of women with that name, looked through social media. Nothing matched the woman he remembered. He called the phone number he had for her. Disconnected. Tried the email. Bounced back. Undeliverable. 8 years of communication. And he couldn't find a single trace of her existence outside of that bank account. The ice beneath his feet wasn't just cracking anymore. It was breaking apart. And Michael was falling through into something dark and cold and incomprehensible. He hired a private investigator, a guy named Ron Castillo, who worked out of a cramped office in Tempe and charged reasonable rates because he said Michael's story bothered him. Ron did in 2 weeks what Michael couldn't do in years of blind faith. The bank account was registered to a Linda Park, yes. But the